Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you a 1 versus 1 on Omaha, and in this one I am going to be playing the SS-Panzer division. Before the game even starts, I am just going to put this to my point of view, and I'm probably going to keep it from my point of view for the majority of the game, just because it's a lot more exciting to watch that way. And in this one, it basically tells the story a lot better from my perspective than it does as a neutral perspective. So I am just going to keep it like this for now, and we can already see that I am starting to place down my troops. So I'm playing against the 15th Scots Division, and my opponent, I'm not entirely sure how experienced he was in the game, but he seemed pretty confident coming into the 1v1. I just randomly set up a lobby and waited until somebody wanted to play against me, so there we go. And here we are with this game. So I'm going to be starting with Panzer Grenadiers on the right side. These are going to be supported by command infantry. Generally, this is what I like to do in a 1v1, is just sort of do one half track with one command infantry, and then those two can like go and secure positions together across the map. And I'll do that over on the left side as well. So on the right side, supporting that with an AT gun and a mortar. And you'll see me maybe do the same on the left side here. We've got the half track and the command infantry, and then the AT gun. Now this AT gun was basically going to be pressed up to about this position at the end of this tree line here, and then it can fire off down this road. I would bring up the line of sight tool, but the AT gun isn't here yet. But as you can see, it can fire all the way down the road there as they come through between those trees, and that's like a really good position, nice close range position. The AT gun to be on target right from the start. I've got a half track here as well, and I've got another unit of Panzer Grenadiers with the command infantry, and yeah, so you can see two command infantry, two normal infantry, AT gun, half track, and over on the right side 222 with recon, mortar carrier, again infantry with command infantry, and then AT gun. So that's pretty much my start. Pretty standard. I managed to make a lot of ground early on, just sort of fast moving all of my units up the roads. I actually unload my Pak 38 relatively early, because obviously from here you can still actually fire all the way down the road, as you can see. So that's why I was unloading it there. But then I decided to start moving further up, because obviously I'd made a lot of ground on this left side, and he's obviously pushing a lot harder in the centre than I am. Because from his side of things, he can actually come up these centre roads. He can come up the side roads as well, but he can definitely make a lot more ground in the centre quicker than I can, because I don't have any direct roads going to the centre. It seems that he prioritised that position early on. I'm still running the +1 though, in terms of conquest. So that's perfectly fine by me. 222 is trying to get into line of sight of these trucks. I'm just sending my half track up here to probe the right side, to try and make some ground, not even to kill anything, just to push the front line forward so that I get the extra +1 early on. I've also got my 259 moving through the middle, and I don't need to really worry about infantry ambushes early on, because they are the 15th Infantry Scots Division. They only have rifles, and maybe the rifle leader with the Piat, but the Piat you can kind of run away from. So that's not too much of an issue. I'm also bringing up the half track with a machine gun to do some damage as well. I guess the only issue is that the infantry don't really reveal themselves unless you're right next to them with the half tracks. So that's why I'm using this infantry half track to push forwards in front of my autocannon one. I'm trying to get this 222 out of range of the AT gun, or just out of line of sight. It does manage to get into the tree patch, and now this half track is going to be hit instead, as it was trying to hide in the hedges there, but does get forced to fall back, and it goes in a very awkward direction, and of course gets killed because of it. Now I think with the falling back mechanic, they should definitely change it so that it falls back to like the closest unit, maybe. Be a lot more predictable to see where your units sort of fall back to, because in that case you saw like it began to fall back towards the enemy spawn, which doesn't really make sense in any case, honestly. Still managing to get my units up on the far left quite far. Still got this Pak 38 held back, covering the road there. I haven't decided to move it forwards just yet. Over on the right, got my AT gun into position on this hedgerow. And that's just so that I can ambush anything that comes down this road. As soon as it comes past the edge of the tree line, it will get sniped by the AT gun. That's the plan. The 222's just moved in there for now to avoid the AT gun. Do have the Aufklärer in here as well, and the Panzergrenz and the Panzergrenführer, so that's just going to provide me some recon. Maybe should have moved this recon over to the left side, maybe into this building. Could have provided recon further down the road, but it's okay for now. So as we can see, trying to probe with my half-track on this left side now. That's going to get hit by the Humber Mark III and the AT gun. Just trying to make that fall back, and this time, well, it falls back towards my unit, but not exactly the way I wanted it to. If it had kept driving, it would have been out of line of sight, and that would have been fine, but unfortunately not the case, so I lose another infantry half-track. And at this point, well, things aren't going great. I haven't really killed much, although my Pak 38 is now on target of this Humber. That's managing to reverse itself behind the building there, so it was pretty much on point in terms of his reactions to what I was doing. And I'm just kind of remaining quite defensive at the moment. I still have the +1, still got this infantry quite far up, providing the push on the front line. And same on this right side, I've kind of come over halfway. In the centre, I've moved forwards to 259 again to get some sort of push going in the middle. So he's moved the Humber Mark III up to the tree line here. I'm seeing an opportunity to basically use some Panzer Grenadiers to try and ambush the Humber. So moving the 222 in position over to the right slightly. In the middle here you can see that this half-track, it's basically a Bren carrier, is going to get hit very hard by my autocannon there. We managed to take that out, that's fine. 222 is, yeah, getting ready to engage the Humber. And what I'm going to do is eventually move over some infantry to this right side. I've moved my Pak 38 up this tree line, as you can see, so that can now fire through the gap just here. I maybe should have moved it up a little bit further, and I do just now, so that I can shoot over to the right side as well. You see the line of sight opening up there. So that gives me a better line of sight, both down the road and across this field if I need it. There is an airstrike coming in on the right side. Typhoon's going to pin down my 222, and now the attack is starting. So, because obviously I'm holding the +1, I don't actually need to be very aggressive at this point, and he's going to have to be aggressive onto me in order to make ground. So he's charging rifles across the open at the moment, using the Humber Mark III to try and provide some covering fire, but this isn't really doing him too many favours at the moment. Over on the left side, well, Panzer Grenadiers are moving through the tree lines here to maybe ambush the Humber Mark III, and I'm getting my 222 ready to receive them. Over on this right side, the mortars have opened up onto the enemy infantry, just sort of pinning them down in the open so the Panzer Grenadiers can continue to fire. And once I can get the 222 back, I'll use that to start harassing the enemy as well. In the centre, Churchill 5 is going to open up onto my 259. But the infantry they have there is going to be pinned down by the Panzer Grenadiers supported by the Panzergrenführer. He managed to pin down the Vickers HMG in the open over on the left, and there's stuff just happening all over the map at the moment. But these Panzer Grenadiers, they're just about managing to get into range of the Humber Mark III, trying to get the Panzerfaust on target at the moment. Currently they're just using grenades to try and kill that. They're going to be hitting me with the rifle squads. Now the Panzer Grenadier, again, trying to hit the Humber Mark III, but wasn't using the Panzerfaust. I'm not entirely sure why that happened. The Humber manages to get away. Weapon damage onto this half-track means that the MG is completely useless. Now I'm bringing up some reinforcements to the right side to basically cancel out all of these rifles. Do manage to lose the half-track there. As the Humber Mark III comes around the corner, it does get bailed out by the 222 and then killed. And now the rifles are in a prime position for my 222 to destroy them. I'm going to have to fall back these Panzer Grenadiers, and in the centre, well, my Panzergrenz and Panzergrenführer are getting surrounded by rifles, HMG and the Churchill. Over on the right side, the rifles still trying to push into my position, but I'm just trying to pin down each squad one by one with the help of this mortar and also the fire support from this left side. So managed to cover off with a half-track here and a Panzergrenz squad. Bringing up this 259 again, that's going to be hitting the Churchill 5. Not intentionally, but that's the target it found. Meanwhile on the left side, making a lot of ground. 222 is going to be pinning down the rifles and so on, and can make those surrender, so that's great. And now I'm just going to be running them down to get rid of them entirely. There goes another squad, and the Vickers HMG I think eventually gets destroyed. Now my 259 does get taken out by the Churchill 5, and over on the right side we're starting to clean up a lot of these rifle squads. It is definitely very intense at this moment, trying to get this 222 to move up and take care of the Humber Mark III. In the centre though, I've kind of fallen apart. I only really had a unit of Panzergrenadiers and a unit of the Panzergrenadführer in the centre, and that means that the front line is definitely pushed through back to a 50-50. So it just shows you like how much space I made on either side for me to still be at 50-50 with this massive incursion in the centre. Over on this left side, Honey Stewart did come up, got ambushed by my Pak 38, which was fantastic. He's now bringing a Honey Stewart down on the right side as well. My Pak 38 is waiting to receive that. I'm bringing around the 222 to engage the Humber Mark III. That's going to get on target and blow that up. That's pretty much a guaranteed kill most of the time. Having one more AP is always very helpful. Just got to make sure that I don't move it into line of sight of the 6-pounder here, otherwise it's going to get destroyed. My Pak 38 does ambush the carrier there, which was very nice, but it wasn't quite the target I was looking for. I'm moving these Panzergrenadiers to the right side now to flank the rifles alongside the 222. We find a recce squad and I destroy that. These Panzergrenadiers opening up onto the rifles over on the left side. And while the Honey Stewart here, I'm not entirely sure if he saw his Bren carrier get destroyed on this side, but he is going to be moving up the Honey Stewart into range of my Pak 38, and well, this Pak 38 with 2 stars is going to blow that up with one shot. So 6-pounder did take out my 222. I made the mistake of getting that into line of sight. I do have the Cromwell here to try and take care of that 6-pounder. I've got to be very careful that the 6-pounder doesn't actually kill my Cromwell one shot, because it definitely could do. My half-track's being forced back in the middle. AT gun alongside the Churchill 5 going to be taking out both of those. Well, this Panzergrenadier is going to be trying to hold the line. Got some reinforcements coming up, a couple more half-tracks with Panzergrens to basically receive the rifle squads that are going to be running across the open in the centre. The engagement's still happening on the left, and now Typhoon's coming in to try and take out my 222. 222 is going to be forced to fall back. This Panzergren's not having a great time. Now what I'm going to do on this side is actually start mortaring this 6-pounder. And then what that's going to allow me to do is move over the Cromwell and hopefully take that out. However, the mortar does a fantastic job here. This Churchill, well, it's not finishing off my Panzergrenadiers very nicely. So I'm able to continue to pin down enemy infantry as they try and move across the open. With this 6-pounder being pinned down, here goes my Cromwell. Going to move out into the open, and with one shot, boom, goes the 6-pounder. So another tank coming down on the left side. This is a Command Stewart this time though. Well, that's going to get destroyed by my Pak 38. And he is going to be coming down with more rifle squads. I actually destroy one of the rifles with the Pak 38 just straight up, and I also destroy a rifles unit on the right side, or a Bren group I think it was, with the Cromwell, just moving it very close to the infantry and destroying them with the 2 machine guns and obviously the main gun there. Now this Churchill 5, this is actually a big point I wanted to make while making the replay on this. This Churchill 5 was actually moving over with attack move stance, I think, towards my Panzergrens, and well, the Panzergrens one-shot it with the Panzerfaust when it gets too close. That Churchill 5 should have not been anywhere near the Panzergrenadiers, especially considering they do have that anti-tank weapon. And with that Churchill 5 destroyed, well, it definitely makes a big difference. I lose my mortar carrier in the middle. I kind of brought that up over here to provide obviously mortar fire. But what happened was I mismicroed it to the centre of the map, and then trying to get it away, it ran into the AT gun and got destroyed, which was unfortunate to say the least. Now Honey Stewart is going to be charging towards my 222, and is basically on top of my Panzergrenadiers at the moment. But with the help of this Panzer Grenadier squad, and obviously the 222 firing that at such short range, I do manage to take that out nice and easy. I'm not entirely sure why he'd pushed that up so far. It was a good idea to try and capture these Panzergrens, but with all of the units that were behind it, definitely never going to work out. Meanwhile, on this left side, my machine guns are opening up. I've actually brought up lots of machine guns, now we're in the B phase. I don't have any machine guns like the MG42s in the first phase, like phase A, so I have to bring them in the second phase, but now with these MGs opening up, well, they're pinning down the 17-pounder, the rifles, all sorts of stuff, and what I'm going to do is just charge forwards the 232 to take them all out. The 232, having that auto cannon, very easily going to take out many of these units, and at close range, rifles can't do anything, especially once they lose the capability of the 17-pounder. I can literally just charge them down. Just going to finish off the 17-pounder there with the 232, and that just leaves me to run all of these rifles down. And finally, after a very long and intense engagement across the entire map, things actually start to settle down, and I find myself with a 68% territory lead. So the 232 is literally just going to run down all of these rifles. The rifles can't do anything against this APC, and you can see that the 232 does a lot of damage. There's a lot of morale damage as well. Just going to take out the one on the left, destroy them pretty much instantly. Now I'm going to move over to the one on the right side, just chase after them and make loads of ground. So the main reason that I think my opponent lost this game was mainly due to the fact that he was attacking me. I think in this game, like, defender's bonus or defender's advantage is definitely apparent, especially considering like when those rifles are coming over the open here, especially without mortar support. They can't really attack into this town very effectively. If he'd used mortars and actually taken care of my Pak 38, his tanks would have definitely fared a lot better, obviously, because I mean, they wouldn't have got one shot. But either way, with me destroying the majority of his infantry, I'm just moving up rifles and so on now to take advantage of the front line that I've obviously made here. So you can see just how far I'm pushing him back at this point. And there is an AT gun here, which is moving forwards. Does manage to snipe one of my half-tracks. Not particularly worried about that. Obviously, I have still got the +3 lead with 70% territory in my favour now. You can't really go much more than +3. I think you can go +4, but that's about it. Bringing up a Panther D just to protect the town against enemy armour. And over on this left side, while I'm just moving all of my stuff forward slowly, the Pak 38 and the MG 42. Bringing in the Typhoon is going to destroy an infantry half-track, but that's no problem whatsoever. But yeah, just moving forwards my units here, and I'm slowly figuring out that I actually have a lot of presence on this left side. I don't think they have anything really defending the left at this point, but I'm just getting my units into safer positions. I do have a BF 109 or an ME 109 flying about just to cover the skies from these Typhoon attacks, but at the moment it's his move still, as he does need to make up ground in order to win. At this point, I was wondering why I wasn't even surrendering, because, you know, it's +3, and unless he's going to do something dramatic, there's not a lot he can do to come back from this. And one thing I could have been doing is moving these units forwards, maybe into these compounds. There's obviously not any enemies here, because obviously the front line is not pushing against me. What I'm going to do is just slowly bring in reinforcements to probe forwards. I've got these pioneer squads, which are great against rifles. And what I'm going to do as well is probe this hard track up the left side to see if I can make the front line a bit further up, and also just stop him spawning on the left side of the map. Because once you basically push the front line to the back side, you stop them spawning. So just sending the half track up there, seeing if there's actually anything there to stop me from doing that. And if not, well, I can just start moving up these forces like this. Now there is obviously this AT gun does pop another one of my half tracks. There's a scouts unit here that kind of reveals itself, unfortunately. Probably should have been on return fire, because that's the only reason he actually popped this half-track, and having that information of all these things moving up is generally great, but obviously with the scouts being destroyed, that's not going to be the case. I'm just going to send one of my Panzer Grenadiers to try and run that scout squad down. But in comes the 25-pound artillery, and that actually does a lot of damage to my grouped up forces there. It does kill off one of my Panzer Gren squads, the other two forced to fall back. This infantry half-track is actually made to fall back as well due to the Typhoon strike, but this half-track's made its way all the way up to the top of the map and is stopping them from spawning there, and now that's giving me a 72% advantage on this map. Again, more Pioneer squads coming up, just basically bringing over this ammunition truck to give ammunition to the 222. Pretty much all that was doing. Also bringing over the 257 mortar truck to maybe take out the enemy artillery and the AT gun there. Still running the +3, and most of the excitement's gone now, honestly. It was very intense in the first like 10-15 minutes of this game, where I was really sort of having to jump all over the map and make plays all over the place, because he definitely did a good job putting the pressure on all over the map. At the same time, it just didn't really pay off, because I think he definitely lacked like artillery, especially mortars, early on. So now an ME-109 with the rocket pods coming in. It's gonna hit the 17-pounder for me. Take that down to 1 health, make that a lot easier to kill. And it did actually die to the flames there as well, so that was fantastic. That was even better. Churchill 5's now going to be moving on as well, pushing into my positions. Churchill 5's great against like Pioneers and Panzer Grens. Just don't let them get too close like you did before, and it should be fine. You can see this Panther D, so he's going to start to RT that, and I'm just worried about him actually taking out my recon there by accident. I'm actually going to move up the Panther D up the road. Pretty sure that there wasn't really much here to ambush me, so sort of slowly moving that up. Do spot another 17-pounder in the centre. I'm just going to move up the Pioneers to try and catch that out. So they get their MGs on targets, and they are going to be engaging some of the infantry, and is pushing towards me. It's all a bit late though. I mean, I'm at 1,900 points. My Pioneers are now engaging his 17-pounder and taking that out very quickly. So he's basically got no AT left. His infantry is all very late, and he definitely waited too long to push back into this town. And although he did make a little bit of ground back, he just jumped into a wall of units. And obviously you can see I'm bringing up these Panzer Grens. They are going to get stunned by the enemy artillery again, but no issue really, as the game does come to an end after 23 minutes or 21 minutes and 18 seconds. So I win a total victory, and you can see just how the kills were in my favour. 1,615 kills to 495 losses, and a 1v1 is actually quite crazy having that many kills. But basically at one point on that map he barely had anything left, because he'd used it all to attack. And if we go to the kills here, you can see this 222 did work. Took out the Humber Mark III, took out a 6-pounder AT gun, took out a Honey Stewart, a universal carrier, multiple rifle squads. Basically can run down these Vickers HMGs as well. Same with this 222, did a great job. Pack 38s picked up multiple Honey Stewarts, and the Churchill 4 there. That was great. The Cromwell picked up 2 6-pounders. That's basically what the Cromwell's there for, to destroy AT guns, because it has 1,200 meter range, and the Phase A AT generally only has 1,000 meter range. You can just like shoot at them from out of range and kill them very easily. This 232 ran down all those rifles that you saw on the left and killed the 17-pounder. So that was pretty much it. All of my fire support really doing the job. These Panzer Grenadiers being hero, killing the Churchill 5, but that's about it. No real infantry on infantry kills. It was all half tracks and fire support. So there we go. And if we go to my losses, well, pretty much just all of my half tracks getting killed by their AT and also some of their planes. But that's about it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the 1v1. I am planning to do a lot more 1v1s because I actually want to become a lot better at the game. At the moment I'm probably, you know, in the mid-range of players, I think. But either way, that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.